Today, it appears as if our economic crisis is the world's most critical problem. That is not so. While stimulating the economy is most urgent, it is not the most important of all the problems we need to address and resolve. Because our economic crisis is not a problem of economics. The root cause for our economic crisis is a problem of human behavior. It is the problem of people abusing and exploiting the principles upon which our capitalist economy was founded. Our economic crisis is not a problem with our economy. Our economic crisis is a problem with our humanity. The evidence for why this is a problem with our humanity is given by the condition that we, the world, all human beings, lack a coherent understanding about the relationship between that what we refer to as value and that what we refer to as values. It is this value to values cognitive dissociation which is at the core of our economic crisis. Let's see why. At first, when looking at our economic crisis, it appears as a sudden and overwhelming loss of value. Second, we start to see this crisis as not the loss of value, but the stagnation of credit. Third, we find that credit stagnation is a response to the loss of trust in the financial systems. Fourth, trust is lost because the operators of these financial systems began to abuse the principles of market capitalism. This is the key question. Why would an entire industry, guided by highly educated human beings, fall into such an unconscionable behavior? The fact that such a systematic abuse of these principles was allowed points to a fundamental problem of cultural responsibility. More accurately, this is a problem of cultural response inability. That is, as a culture, the leaders of the financial industry seems to have been unable to respond justly to their own personal value judgments. The entire financial industry, driven by a relentless desire for value gains, saw no rationale when interpreting the principles of market capitalism that demanded them to stop what they intrinsically knew were unsustainable practices. Even more, culturally, they had two very strong arguments for why to continue. The fact that one would stop the bad practice would not solve anything. And anyone who stopped would risk losing business to competitors who would continue to serve these ill-conceived financial instruments. At the end, for the entire financial industry, behaving irresponsibly became a matter of survival. Here's the world's most critical problem. Our religious terrorism, cultural, political wars, and economic crisis are all caused by the same human condition. Call it rational fundamentalism. These three global problems have two specific common faults. 1. The integrants of a culture collectively unwilling to stop a detrimental behavior. 2. The rational interpretation of principles of order within a constrained cultural context, constrained by our value to values cognitive dissociation. Rational fundamentalism, amongst other things, explains that the core constraint, equally limiting all the integrants of a culture to see and stop a detrimental behavior, is the cognitive dissociation or incoherence resulting from the separation of the context we use to realize our values, be that religion, family morals, and upbringing, and the context we use to realize our value, that be secular, scientific, materialist. Equivalence solves this problem. Equivalence is the context which conveys the integral sense necessary for distinguishing, correlating, and realizing both the significance of our material value and the significance of our spiritual values within the same coherent continuum. Let's summarize the significance of applying equivalence principles through purposeless platform. 1. Equivalence represents a breakthrough answer to our highest existential crisis. 2. It is our lack of a comprehensive understanding of the spiritual essence of our own humanity, which is at the root of this crisis. 3. The evidence for lacking such understanding is that we also lack the common sense for realizing new universal standards of our highest spiritual values, our humanity's meta-values. And 4. Equivalence is the context which conveys the integral sense necessary for the conscious realization of such values.